shows. You know him from American Horror Story. Of course, you know him from Star Trek as well. And if you're like me, you know him from Instagram and Twitter. Let's bring him out right now, Zachary Quinto!
How's everybody doing? There's a lot of people in here, huh? Well, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me. I don't know. I mean, it's probably better to just talk to you all and find out what you want to talk about, right? Than me say anything. Sure. What do you think? How many people are from Toronto? It's a good city to be from, isn't it? I'm glad to be back. I haven't been here in a long time. I'm going to take a picture of you all. Is that all right? Touche. Touche. Yeah, so I'm glad to be here. You know, I just got back from Japan, where we, Japan. It was incredible. I had been there once before with the first movie, but we went back with the second movie, and it was a whole different experience because people there kind of really knew what to expect a little bit, and so then they were expecting it. It was really fun. And so now the movie is officially done and out there. You know, that was our last kind of press trip. And so yeah, we're done with Star Trek Into Darkness. How many people saw Star Trek Into Darkness? How many people liked it? All right, good news, good news. We had a great time making it, and I had such a good time traveling all over the place with the movie and with my friends promoting it, and I'm just glad to be here on the tail end of it. So I guess we might as well just like open it up and we can all have a dialogue together then, right? I'm not going to pick who asks the question. Somebody else better do that, right? Somebody over here will do that. So who has a question? All right. Okay, well, there's a hand right in front of me, and that person is dressed like Spock, so let's give them the microphone. You can shout it out. I'll hear you.
If I may inquire, what made the decision to leave the eyeshadow?
Well, we didn't actually leave the eyeshadow. We just sort of toned it down a little bit. But there is, if you look closely, there is a little bit of it. But you'd have to talk to Dave Anderson, our makeup head, because he made all those important decisions, like how blue will the eyeshadow be? Good question. Who else? Somebody over there. Hey. Good. It's good to go. It's good to go.
So I just wanted to say that you're like an amazing actor, and I really appreciate your work. My question is, like, how do you prep yourself for different roles, like going from Dr. Thredson to Spock?
It's different. It depends on what I'm doing. If I'm doing a movie or a TV show or play, my process is different for everything. I find film and television tends to be a lot more about instinct and a lot more about moment-to-moment choices, and being in a play, which I'm actually doing a play right now. I'm doing The Glass Menagerie on Broadway in New York. So if anybody's in New York between now and the end of January, come see me in The Glass Menagerie at the Booth Theater. But you know, they're all very different because in a play you have time to craft and to explore in rehearsal a process and build a performance, whereas in film and television you have much less time to rehearse, and it really tends to be much more about serving the writing, especially in television, because you're turning over episodes every 8 days, and you inevitably get backed up, and especially with a show like American Horror Story or Heroes, both of which are very technically complicated, and there's a lot of stunts and makeup effects and stuff, so then that becomes its own thing. And then from there, it's just about the character. My microphone doesn't work! The screens went out too.
Oh no.
So then from there, it's just about the character. And, you know, crafting a performance based on what the character's essence is. So for Spock, you know, and Siler and Thredson, they're all just very different, you know? I don't know, that was a bad answer, right? Good answer? All right. Yeah, who else?
Hi, over here.
Where? Over there, okay. Hi.
Hi, thanks. Big fan since Hero Season 1. My question is maybe a little bit on the heels of the last one. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but I'm sure everybody in this room saw Star Trek Into Darkness, and my question is about the iconic scene, of course, where you, instead of the previous iteration, say that name with such intensity.
Okay. Way to preserve the spoiler. Something tells me that wasn't the end of your question. Why did you take the microphone away from him? He wasn't done with the question. How did I prepare for it, you ask? Well, it's not hard to prepare for something like that when, you know, we spent that whole day doing that scene leading up to that moment that you're talking about, where my character yells the name, "It shall not be spoken." So the day was really intense because we spent hours and hours in that scenario where, you know, someone who I'm incredibly good friends with in real life and whose character, my character, is incredibly good friends with in the world of the movie, appears to have expired. And that is unsettling, and so, you know, we spent a lot of time building up to that moment, and the expression of anger and the need for revenge and all of that stuff came out of the work that we had been doing all day. So ultimately it wasn't that difficult. The most difficult thing about that scene was that we were shooting in a converted warehouse, basically, probably a space at least as big as this room, but with ceilings probably about 2 times or 3 times as high, like just this cavernous. It was where Lindbergh built his airplanes, like it was like his airplane situation. And there were birds in the rafters of the place, so in the middle of this very intense but very quiet kind of intimate scene, we had to contend with like for hours, and they brought in actually like birds of prey to scare the little birds from chirping. They would, like, between takes, they would do foghorns and air horns in order to scare the birds into silence, which didn't work very well. So that was probably the biggest challenge of that whole experience, was contending with the little, like, swallows that were up in the rafters, I guess. But yeah, there's that. How about front row right here, because you don't have to use a microphone. Yeah.
Do you have an interesting or entertaining story of behind the scenes working with Benedict Cumberbatch?
Behind the scenes, interesting stories about working with Benedict Cumberbatch. No, you guys are here for me, not for Benedict Cumberbatch. Well, Ben's a great guy and, you know, enormously talented actor. And the great thing about working with Ben is just that there's such a familiarity and such a common language. We both come from the theater, and I would say just that epic battle that we have at the end of the movie was probably the thing that I'll remember most from the whole shoot. It was like an 11-day sequence that we shot over, you know, a few weeks, and it was really intense and kind of unrelenting in its brutality, and we had to just keep going and you know, just fight all day. And so you bond with somebody over something like that, and I would say that's probably the thing that working with him I'll take away from the most. But we're great friends. We see each other all the time. Whenever, you know, one of us is in the other one's city, we always hang out and find time to catch up. So it was all good stuff. I wouldn't say there's anything uproariously funny that I can share with you, other than just sort of day-to-day humor that probably wouldn't translate.
No bloopers?
I don't know. You'll have to buy the DVD, which comes out in a couple of weeks, I think, or something, right? Okay. Yeah, sure.
Well, it's kind of off her question as well. Could you explain the prank you guys played on Benedict?
Well, the prank we played was not only on Benedict. It actually started on Anton. Chris and Simon were in the makeup trailer one day. We were shooting the last 10 days of our movie up in this, it's called the National Ignition Facility in Northern California, in Livermore, California. And so Chris and Simon got the idea to pretend that we needed to apply this neutron cream to preserve us from the exposure to radiation that was possible in this place, which wasn't obviously possible. And so they made Anton do it, and then once they would get somebody, then that person was in on the joke, so it became a cumulative thing. So it went from Anton, or first it went from Simon to Anton, and then I think it was me, and then it was Zoe, and then it was Benedict, and then it was, the last two were, has Carl ever been doing one of these panels? Yeah. So make sure you ask Carl about his experience, because he and John Cho were the last ones, and Chris and I wrote this whole PSA. We like literally wrote it out on cue cards, and we had them read it and record it, like, you know, this is gonna be, I think that's gonna be on the DVD, like a whole sort of thing about that. But that was really fun, and everybody had, so Benedict's version of it was, they made him sign a release form saying, like, you understand. And then at lunchtime, they made him read it out loud to the entire crew. And in the middle of it, it was like, I understand that this is completely untrue, and this is a big joke. And he had to read it out loud, and it was really embarrassing. But... So there you go. That does tie in, right? Now you got your answer, and you got your answer. Perfect.
Where?
Yeah. Where? Hi.
Hi. Would you be more scared to run into Oliver Thredson or Siler in the dark alley in the middle of the night?
What are you talking about? I'd have a drink with both of them. I love those guys. If I was in a dark alleyway, I think I would probably be more, I don't know, that's a good question. I'd probably be more scared to run into Siler in a dark alleyway. I don't think I'm Thredson's type. Who else? You obviously got the next question, buddy. What's up? Is it what? What about it? Is my favorite movie Star Trek? My favorite movie is Star Trek. Thank you. Am I choosing the people, or are you guys choosing the people? All right, this guy's chosen this gal, so we'll go over here.
Should I? Okay. This is really, yeah, sorry. Okay.
So your acting work is really inspirational, and for someone who's wanting to come out into the acting industry, what would be your, like, one big tip?
Good luck. My one big tip would be specific about what you want and never back off. You know, like it's such a long road, really. I mean, I lived in LA and worked as an actor for 8 years before I got Heroes, and there were many times in that 8 years that I thought, like, well, I can't do this anymore. I just can't do this anymore. And then sticking with it is really the biggest part of it, I think, you know. Perseverance in this field is something that can never be underestimated. And the interesting thing is it never gets easier, you know. You think like, oh, I remember thinking like, oh, well, all I need is one big job, or all I need is to be, you know, to be successful or get that gig. And then I got it, you know, and then it still didn't get that much easier. It's like, it's a very interesting thing that, you know, you always have to have a strong sense of self, separate from your work, I think, and never really give up on what you want to accomplish. And then you'll definitely get, you know, more likely to accomplish it, I think. Thank you, good luck. I meant that part. I don't know.
Right here.
Yeah. Hey.
Hello.
Hi.
Do you have any confirmation about Heroes being renewed? And even if you don't, would you reprise your role as Siler if you were asked?
You guys, I love how enthusiastic you are about a show that went off the air like 6 years ago. No, I really do love how enthusiastic people are about Heroes, and I've been asked this question a lot because I think there was some kind of news rumor that there was maybe going to be a resurgence of the series on like Xbox or something. I remember. I don't Netflix. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna. I don't know. I haven't spoken to Tim Kring in quite some time, but my instinct is it won't happen. I mean, all of us have moved on to other things, and are really busy. And if it did happen, I think it would happen with a different cast. Different characters. I don't think that I would ever go back to that. Myself personally, I had an incredible time. It defined so much of my journey as an actor from that point forward, and I'm so grateful to it. I had the best time working on that show. I love that character. I love the people that I got to work with. But it's that kind of feeling of like, it's a chapter that is closed a little bit, and that I've moved on to other stuff, and I'm hungry to continue to do that. So my instinct is it's probably not going to happen, but don't quote me on that because I don't know for sure. I'm not the one to decide. Yeah, thank you. Let's go to this side of the room now. Who's over here that wants to talk about things in the world? This guy right here with his hand up. I don't think that would be. I think I would be like attacked if I turned up in the Star Wars franchise. No, I don't think so. I was just with him for an extended period of time in Japan. I imagine if he had any inklings toward that, he would have probably floated it out. And I don't think that I could do it. I really don't, actually. I don't think I would do it. And I don't think that he would be interested in sort of cross-pollinating in that way, because we're going to be shooting our third movie probably. Also, don't quote me on this, but sometime next year, so I imagine there would be some overlay and I wouldn't be able to do both anyway, but no, I don't think so. Sure.
In all of your press junkets, all the cons and everything, is there anything, any topic, any questions that nobody's ever asked but you really, really wish they had?
No. I don't think so. I mean, no. People have pretty much asked everything, or I'm glad they haven't. One or the other, I think. Let's go green shirt. Green shirt there in the back. Yeah, you. Yeah, you. You.
What are some of your core beliefs or key beliefs, like philosophy, lies, or whatever, that have helped you?
Oh. Well, there's a question nobody's asked me before. What are some of my core beliefs, my core philosophies that have helped me? Oh, wow. Well, I believe that it's a tough one. I believe that that's a tough one. I believe that you get back what you put out in the world. I'm a big believer in treating people with compassion and respect, and I believe that's the only way to treat people, actually, unless they treat you differently. I believe in striving for authenticity and really journeying within to understand myself and to accept myself on as many levels as possible. I truly believe that the universe will support you if you're specific about what you want. I believe in a spiritual interconnectivity that has been proven to me in my own experience time and time again, that the world just offers things that you are open to. So the more open you are to the world, the more that will present itself to you, I think. And I said it to the young lady who asked about, being an actor, like, specificity in terms of what you want in your life, I believe, will help yield it more. What else? I don't know. I believe in having fun. I believe in living as hard as I work, and not taking anything for granted ever. Not one single experience or one single moment. Or I try to stay as aware of how lucky I am all the time, in every moment that I'm experiencing, because, it could go like that for any of us. What else? I don't know. What do you believe? Yeah. You believe what I believe. Awesome. Good. How about that person waving their hand way over there in the hat? No, that person that just stood up. Yeah, you that just stood up. You. That, yeah. How do I feel about the lack of homosexual characters in the Star Trek universe? Oh, God. I'm more interested in the abundance of actual homosexual people in the world who are willing to stand up for who they are and what they believe in and for living a life that's true and authentic. I mean, yes, absolutely, characters can reflect the social world that we live in, and I believe that we will see that in the Star Trek universe. But honestly, I think the fight is more on the ground than in the fantasy and the fiction. And for me, it's about visibility. It's about standing up. It's about taking responsibility for unifying our society and leveling a playing field so that everybody has the opportunity to live with their own integrity and their own happiness, and that's more important to me, actually, and that's the life that I try to live. But thanks for your question. What's up, girl? Sure.
Is there any role, anyone, past, present, future, that you would love to do?
I want to play Sweeney Todd in the musical Sweeney Todd. Thank you. Yeah, that's something I've always wanted to do because Sweeney Todd was the first. It was the first time in the theater when I was a kid. I saw Sweeney Todd when I was about 11 years old, and it leveled me. I was absolutely so terrified, so inspired. I thought it was such an epic, beautiful story, and I didn't have any idea what I was getting into when I went to see it. So I've always had a special place for that musical, and so one day. Who else? How about the people waving frantically in the back? Hi. Get it together, girl. Get it together. Okay. Part one.
You actually get your eyebrows shaved for the movie.
Uh-huh.
Part two, do you enjoy it and do you like the way your eyebrows are?
Okay. Part one. Yeah, I really do get my eyebrows shaved for the movie. Not all the way off, which is probably worse. The fact that I keep a little sliver of eyebrow. And part two, I would say the eyebrow work is probably my least favorite part of the shooting process because it's tedious and painful and protracted because I have to do that for 6 months. And I look like a crazy person. All around when I'm playing the part, but I think it's an important part of the character, and the physical transformation is a huge point of access for me in the character. So I'm not mad. I'm kind of mad at it, but I'm not hating on it. I'm just mad at it. Is that somebody in the back, in the way back? Yeah, that person waving, and the other person's pointing at her. Yeah, you. Oh, no. Okay. Yeah, come on if you want to. Hurry up. Is that it? Is that your question?
Yes.
Awesome. She spent her question on a hug, folks. All right.
No more hugs.
Oh, that hurt.
New hands now.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of new hands. How about this guy here in the middle? That person there, yeah. Yeah?
All
Okay. I don't really think of the characters I play in terms of a moral compass or a moral spectrum. I find it really interesting to play complicated characters that have a lot going on, and all of the characters that I've played so far I think pretty much do, which I'm grateful for, but I don't really, I delight in complexity more than I delight in good or evil. Thredson, who's probably the most despicable character I've played, I would say, was also such a delight, but Spock, who's one of the more heroic characters, is also really special to me as well. So I think of it more in terms of like my relationship to my work as an actor than my relationship to the moral spectrum of the character. That person waving both of their hands, yes, that person there. Well, probably always the one I'm playing when someone asks me that question. So right now it'd be Tom Wingfield in The Glass Menagerie. I don't know where to go. There's somebody way in the back over there waving both of their arms. I like the people that are really far away that have to work harder to get my attention. Gotta get louder than that. Uh-huh. Well, I've only worked with like 30 people. That's not true. I look up to a lot of people. That's another thing. It comes back to like the philosophy of things. I've been super lucky, I feel like, because I feel like I've had great opportunities as an actor in really unique projects and special things, but also I've worked with amazing people. From the time that things changed for me with Heroes all the way through to now, I feel like I've been so fortunate, and it comes back to like getting back what you put out. It's like I feel like I want to be a good person. I want to work with people that are good people. So, I look up to, I'm inspired by all of my friends and peers and collaborators. On Star Trek, my castmates and JJ and the people that I'm working with right now on this play, my director John Tiffany, my castmates Cherry Jones and Celia Keenan-Bolger and Brian J. Smith, who are we've gone through this tremendous experience together, doing the play at Boston and now doing it again on Broadway. And I just find like I want to, whatever situation I'm in, I try to find a source of inspiration. There's many people that I haven't worked with that I'd love to work with. I can't even think of them now. There's so many of them. But, one day at a time, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Oh, there's a person jumping up and down over there in the black. Yeah, you.
You gotta jump up and down.
Sure. Oh. Thank you. Yes. Oh. I would cosplay. Cosplay? What the F is that? No, that's when you dress up like other people, right? Oh, is that Wonder Woman over there? Okay, Oh, are you? I am a journalist for the New York Times. Right? I don't know, No? But I love you for being Lara Croft right now. Lara Croft? Good work, Tomb Raider. All right. How about that person over there waving both of them? Now everybody's just waving both of their hands because they know that's my thing. So yeah, you there in the hat. Yeah, you. Scratch that. Back up. Erase. Start over. Any other character from any other movie or TV show. So basically, if I could be anything that I ever wanted to be ever in the history of time, I have absolutely no idea. That's the other thing about me is I don't really tend to spend too much time looking at what I don't have. I tend to spend more time being grateful for what I do have. So I just feel like my journey is so specific to me that I couldn't imagine any other journey, honestly. I mean, if I was any other character at any other point in time, then I wouldn't be standing here talking to you, and that would be horrible. Sure. Well, hello. What's up?
Well, I thought this was a little...
Well, you certainly worked.
What was your favorite TV show growing up as a child?
2020. I loved 2020. I'm Hugh Downs. And I'm Barbara Walters. And this is 2020. Someone's twirling a poster. No. Are you kidding me? Right. No. Abso-smurfly not. Because that won't get on the internet. That's all I need right now. Are you kidding me? You'll have to come see the play when I do it sometime. Someone's making a Vulcan salute in the back and waving their hand. No, you just put it down. Yeah, you. I think that role has been recently taken. Yeah, I don't know. You know, I feel like it's an interesting thing because Star Trek was my first movie. And so a lot of actors will spend years building a career to be able to do a movie as big as Star Trek. And for me, it was like such a weird first movie. I feel like I'm kind of interested in a little bit of reverse engineering right now, which is like smaller movies that are not in space or where I don't have any superpowers. Yeah, you know, I don't know. I feel like those kinds of experiences tend to find their way into the lives that they're supposed to find their way into, I think, in a large sense. So if it's meant to be, I feel like it'll be, but I don't have my eyes on anything specific right now. No, thank you. How about this young lady right here on the, yeah, you.
What is the craziest thing a fan has ever done to you?
I'm always in a tough spot when people ask me this question because I don't like to encourage bizarre behavior. And I feel like if I acknowledge the bizarrest behavior that has ever been bizarred upon me, then there will be perhaps repeat performances of said bizarre behavior. I don't know, people have like followed me on the street for a long time and I'm not aware of it until like, you know, like I'm like listening to music in New York or something and then I'm like, why are you walking next to me? Say things to me that make me really uncomfortable. But I will say this, I will say that my fan base, this entire room included, has generally been really, really respectful of me and my desire to maintain some level of normacy in my life, and I hope that continues. I haven't had any experience with any fan that has made me, you know, like not appreciate fans, so that's nice. People are eccentric and people are, yeah, give yourselves a hand. I'm very grateful for everybody's support and I love the fact that like, you know, you guys are all really excited about this stuff that we're here to talk about, Star Trek and the comic book stuff and Heroes and even American Horror Story. But I love my fans' willingness to go with me wherever I go, because I've done a lot of different stuff, you know, and so many people from this world have supported that work, the work I do as a producer and Margin Call and All Is Lost, which is coming out in October, and, you know, my theater work. A lot of people traveled to New York to see me do Angels in America a couple of years ago, and I hope more of you will come to New York to see me do this play. But, you know, I feel grateful. I feel like, you know, I'm very clear, I've said it before, I'm very clear about my boundaries, I'm very clear about what I'm able to offer and what I'm not willing or able to offer, and I think that's served me, so hopefully we'll all live in harmony moving forward as, right? Something. Okay, in the back. Yeah, you. No, the other one. You. Yes, you. You get sad, buddy. You get sad. What do I think of? Wouldn't you like to know? I don't know. I mean, it's every day is a different. Every time is different. You know, it depends on why the character is having an emotional response to something. It depends on where I am as an actor. It's like a little bit complicated and kind of hard to talk about. I think every actor has a different process and every actor has different experience of that question. So it's tough to put a point on it. Now people are flashing lights at me.
Here.
So that worked this round. You with the flashing light. No, that person, the other person. Sorry, you can be next. But that person behind you, yeah. And then you. And then you that stood up. Okay, go ahead.
Hi, I was wondering if you had a favorite scene or even a favorite episode of filming for American Horror Story.
Thank you. Preemptive applause. I'll take it. I think, Sarah Paulson is, let's get a round of applause for Sarah Paulson. I love working with Sarah, and we got to do so much twisted, disgusting, amazing stuff together this season that I would say pretty much all of it was fun. I don't know, I don't know if I have a favorite. There was the episode where Thredson reveals himself and the turn happens. I think it was maybe episode 5 or 6 or something. It was probably my favorite episode to shoot. I loved building the character in a way that people had no idea what was going to happen, and then sort of unraveling it, you know. So that was my favorite one. Yeah. Someone's holding up a painting.
Oh no, she was supposed to be next.
Yeah, sorry, no, this person was supposed to be next. And then I'll come over there. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, you. No. Oh, now I'm really in a cluster over here. The woman that stood up, you.
Yes. Okay. So I was just wondering, how do you go from, psychologically, when you go from living your life to having screaming fans everywhere, how does that affect you? Is it exciting? Is it intimidating? Is it tedious after a while?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird to be in a room with this many people caring what I have to say. I don't begrudge it. I like it. I mean, I guess it's kind of cool that this many people care what I have to say. But I really do, I think, just try to live like this is one thing, and when I come to something like this, I know what I'm getting into. But when I leave, it's like, I live as normal a life as I can, and for me, the line between my public self and my private self is very clear. I don't need this kind of exposure or this kind of, I don't thrive on it in a way that's like a narcissistic kind of like devouring of this attention, but I also recognize that you're here because I am a conduit of something else. I represent something for everybody in this room that is a part of the characters that I play and a part of the projects that I work on, and I love to talk about my work. I love working. I'm so blessed and grateful to be able to do it at this level. So I think psychologically, I have a pretty healthy relationship to it and a lot of therapy. Okay, that person who's clearly not going to take no for an answer. I would say pretty much nothing is how I envisioned it past. When I got out of school and I moved to Los Angeles, I had very specific goals that I set for myself, which were to get jobs, right? Like, when I got Heroes, I said to my agents, I got Heroes in September, right, when television generally comes back on the air, like new seasons of shows. And I said to my agents that August, here's what I want. I want to play a very interesting character in a recurring capacity on a new show that is a huge hit. That's literally what I said to my agents. And then that happened. And I don't think it happened because I said it. I think it happened because they listened and they put me out for things that I was right for, and that happened to be the job that I got. From that point on, like, I didn't, that was it for me. Like, oh, okay, like, I did what I needed to do, what I wanted to do, and then it was about setting a new goal. But then Star Trek happened, and then it sort of ran away from me, and my experience became something else. So all of this stuff, I never would have imagined what it would be like. I would have never dared to imagine what this would be like. So I've just had to roll with a lot of the stuff that came after Heroes and Star Trek in terms of, the exposure and the fame element of it. But I've tried to do it with as much, just ease as possible. And I think as long as you stay open to what's possible, then anything's possible, and you can sort of fill up any experience that presents itself. So I would say that, but the thrill of getting to do this kind of work, getting to work consistently, that is something that, the feeling that it gives me is something that I had always dreamed of and always hoped for, and I'm so grateful that I actually get to feel it every day. Yeah, thanks. I've been neglecting this side of the room now. Green top pointing at self. Is that kind of a superhero costume, or is that just a top? Oh, it's just a top. Okay, well, from here you look like a superhero, so well done. Really? It's absolutely abominable what's happening there. It's archaic, it's despicable, it's horrifying. It makes me grateful every day that we live in a country that, while still struggling with the limitations of thought, has made incredible progress, certainly in the past year alone, in with regards to equality. I think it's everybody's responsibility, gay and straight, to stand up for human rights. And I think people in America, gay or straight, have a responsibility and an opportunity to voice their opposition to this kind of unfathomable oppression that... I've been to Russia. I mean, had I known the depths and the degree, I was in Russia not that long ago, actually. Which is horrifying to me, so I don't know. I think it's the rest of the world needs to serve as a beacon for that place, which is in its nature, I think, such a monolithic, concrete kind of place. I don't know how else to say it. Having been there, I just feel like it's really like, you can feel the hardness of the thinking there. And I think that it's the responsibility of the rest of the world that is, in so many ways, look at it, so many other places on the planet right now. In Europe, all through Europe, and New Zealand, and all through America, the states that are just opening themselves up to this inevitable wave of equality. I just, it's just, we have to stay vigilant. And again, for me, visibility is key, people who are willing to stand up. Wentworth Miller, who just stood up the other day to say, like, I will not abide this, I can't stand by anymore. Like, that's what it takes, So props to him, and props to people like him, and props to people in this room that are willing to stand up to that, because it's not cool. It's the opposite of cool. Someone's waving their hat in the back. You know what was hard for me to do on 24? Keep my mouth closed. Really, the DP always used to be like, close your mouth. Because I used to stand like this, like... And then I would stand like this. 24 was a real learning curve for me. That was the first time I was ever on a show for a whole season, and it was challenging in that regard. Also because it was a pretty peripheral character, so I don't really feel like, you know, his arc was very important to the season. What'd you say? I know, I always say I went home from work and never came back again. But yeah, you know, it was a good beginning to my understanding of what it means to be on a show and have to sort of create a character week after week, yeah. You have a sword in your hand. I don't know. I really don't know. Again, it's like a weird thing. Like, I look at material all the time. I read stuff all the time. There's a couple of new plays, actually, that wouldn't mean anything to you if I talked about them, that I've read that I feel like could be really interesting films. And in a couple of cases, I'm working on talking about them with the playwrights. But, you know, nothing classic that I can think of that comes to mind, although, you know, I love the idea of Shakespeare adaptations into film. You know, I would love to do some classical Shakespeare stuff, or, you know, I like Vanya on 42nd Street, this movie that is based on Uncle Vanya, a Chekhov play. You know, that kind of stuff is interesting to me. So maybe something like that will come down the pike. Who knows?
Here. Here.
Where? Who's saying here? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so Spock has a catchphrase, fascinating. And you and Chris Pine, in your interviews, you have amazing, like, wordplay. You guys have a crazy
As opposed to cosplay.
Yeah. So I was wondering if you have any, like, catchphrase or, like, any kind of word that you love to use to describe things.
Nightmare.
Nightmare?
Yeah. I'm constantly like, that is a total nightmare.
This isn't a nightmare, though, right?
No, this is not a nightmare. Okay. I'm not using it to describe this experience, but, like, if I, like, get really frustrated, like, in the morning, I always know what kind of day it's going to be when I walk my dogs. Because if I'm, like, in the city and I'm walking my dogs and, like, you know, you have to clean up after them, or, like, one day. Can I really tell this story? But one day I was walking my dog, Noah, and he made a poop, and I was, like, talking to my friend and getting the bag out to clean it up, and, like, my friend is here, and the dog is here, and the poop is here, and I'm like, yeah, anyway, I don't know, and I'm, like, getting the bag out, and I gotta open the bag to put it, you know, to put it in the thing, and then I turn around, and this woman is walking down the sidewalk, listening to her headphones and not paying attention to anything, and she's like this, and she steps right in the mess, and she's wearing sandals. Oh, it was the worst. It was a nightmare. Probably more of a nightmare for her, but also a nightmare for me. Anyway, that day so I went home and I was like, that was a nightmare. It's a terrible story. Oh, I'm getting a watch, which means we're done? Oh, I have time for 2 more questions. Oh, it's like a lottery situation. Okay, you seem like you're not trying too hard, which I like. But you have to stand up so everyone can hear you. Oh, well then, okay, sorry. Awkward for who? Oh.
Part of the fandom has associated your relationship with Chris Pine as more than...
What's my feeling on what? The fact that people do that? Yeah, this is really awkward, but I think it's a little more awkward for you than it is for me. I hate to tell you. What are you asking me?
Oh my god! What is your thoughts on people thinking that Kirk and Spock are more than...
Kirk and Spock or me and Chris? Be clear, what's happening here? So you're talking about fan fiction. So what are my thoughts on fan fiction? Oh, well, I'm glad you asked. Because when I was in Ireland, I was giving an interview and somebody asked me about it, and I said something that some people misinterpreted as disrespectful. And so I would like to say here for the record that I mean no disrespect to people who either write or read fan fiction. I have absolutely no interest in it. It doesn't interest me. I understand how it interests other people. I respect their desire to be interested in it. I think both Kirk and Spock, and definitely me and Chris, are only good friends. And any suggestion otherwise has more to say about the person making that suggestion than it does about either the characters or the actors playing those characters. One more question. I don't know. Okay, you right here.
I just wanted to ask, have you done any work related to the fashion industry lately?
Work related to the fashion industry. I mean, I like fashion. I like to meet and work with different designers, which I've had the great pleasure of being able to do. But work with the fashion industry. I actually am a contributor to Style.com as a style maps contributor. But I'm so far behind on my deadline that I actually have to go write the piece that was due 2 Fridays ago, which is what I'm going to do. So yeah, it's something that I'm interested in and something that maybe I'll do a little bit more of. But we'll see. Thank you for your questions, you guys. Thank you so much for all of your time. I really appreciate you coming, and hope you all have a great day and enjoy your time here at the Expo. Peace.
Bye.
Miss you.